and every week we are fired up to bring you the Broadway show. That's why I'm so glad you're here. I'm Tamsin Fidel. Batter up, the revival of Take Me Out is finally returning to Broadway with a star-studded cast. Paul Wontorek is here now, throwing heat with one of the major players in Take Me Out, Jesse Williams.
Thanks, Tamsin. Best known for his performance as Dr. Jackson Avery on TV's Grey's Anatomy, Take Me Out marks Jesse's Broadway debut. We talked about him getting his game face on for the stage and so much more at the Renaissance Hotel. Jesse, welcome to Broadway.
Thank you.
How's Broadway treating you?
Wonderfully, wonderfully. I'm having a time of my life. It's terrifying and exciting. It just all rolled into one. It's a thrill ride.
You're in previews now. You're heading towards opening night.
Yeah.
You're in front of audiences.
Yeah.
What is it like actually getting in front of everybody?
It's incredible. Our audiences have been great. They're listening. They're attentive. The material is so rich and dense and layered, and it unfolds in a really unorthodox way. So I definitely feel tethered to the audience. We're feeling this connective energy with them. So you couldn't ask for a better group, both on stage and in front of it. It feels good. It feels good. That first show was, thrilling and stressful. But I'm having fun. I try to turn any nervousness into excitement and anticipation.
You play Darren Lemming.
Yeah.
Who may or may not be inspired by some real pro baseball players in terms of personality. He's a real confident guy who has found great success in the game. A lot of confidence in that character. Is that easy for Jesse, to connect to?
For pieces of my lived experience and folks I've been around, yeah. You gotta believe it yourself before you expect anybody else to believe it. You gotta be a little irrational. You got to be really committed, and then combine that with an incredible skill set.
All the action of the play sort of jumps off the very beginning. He announces to the world he's gay. Richard Greenberg, when he wrote this 20 years ago, I think it was sort of like a fantasy. Well, imagine if a pro athlete actually did this. We have actually seen some athletes come out of the closet in those 20 years. It almost feels like an impulsive, he just sort of does it. But because of who he is, he's able to just sort of make the announcement, and then it sets the play in motion. Yeah,
it's an interesting entree to it, because a lot of stakes are established in that preface, that period of anticipation, stress, strain, practicing. You don't see any of that, as you said. He comes out and really a pretty casual demeanor, and couches it in language that is about, but I'm still here to play the game, we're still just here to have fun, let's go on out there and play ball. And Richard is very specific in his language. Every syllable is there for a reason, and there's a reason that we start, I'd say not only, we start the moment after I've said those choice words, right? It's a little, it's really interesting. It's like the end of my press conference, after I've actually come out technically, and it's really about me telling everybody how to behave and that we're all just going to move on. Darren doesn't actually change the way he behaves. He doesn't do anything differently. Everybody else's projection onto him as to what they think that means, or what they think that you think, that I think that you think that means. And so that speaks to some of the fragility and what we consider kind of heteronormative masculinity, and the performative quality of it, and vulnerability, and being honest, and male relationships in general. All of that stuff is so ripe for story and drama and tension and betrayal.
I also love the dynamic between Darren and Mason, played by the other Jesse, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, who is an openly gay guy who sort of discovers his love of baseball, which is such a beautiful thing about this play. What is it like sort of developing that relationship with him? They're really opposite sides of the gay community.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. Man, I mean, Jesse Tyler, I can't say enough about him. He's not only just a stellar performer and human being, he's so charming and inviting and generous that I sometimes get lost in his performance while I'm on stage with him. It's really wonderful to behold. It is a wonderful relationship. He's so charming, and it's kind of the only relationship that Darren has in the play where there's no threat of antagonism. Right? He actually makes a safe space for me. He's calm, he's vulnerable, he wants to learn, and it allows Darren to kind of relax and be playful in a way that Kippy points out. A lot of the straight players on the team feel like they've lost by me coming out. My presence now has made it difficult for them to be playful anymore, because they have to overcompensate to prove that they're not me for some silly reason that is deeply entrenched in American masculinity.
When you do a Broadway play, you're with this group of actors and you're doing the same material every night, but obviously it adjusts night to night. Is there a parallel at all with that and doing something like Grey's Anatomy, where you're working with the same group of people over long periods of time, but different words every week?
Interesting. Yeah, that's a fair comparison. In theater, though, it's certainly heightened because we are all on that high wire together, and the slightest gust of wind, the slightest misplacement can throw the whole thing off. So we have to constantly kind of have our muscles activated. You don't get to rest in off-camera work. You don't get to be half in wardrobe. You don't get to be sitting on an apple box. All these little behind-the-scenes things. Everybody's in full tilt, 360 degrees available, and that's taken some learning.